a follow-up questions from our speakers, and I would like to start this time in reverse order. So we'll start again from you, Gioia. And you touched already a little bit on that, but I wanted to ask you how your personal encounter with the charisma of Father Giussani has inspired and still inspires your engagement with this initiative, MammaMia, which, as you pointed out, is not, let's say, related to Father Giussani. It is not per se even a Christian endeavor.
Well, so first, in my attempt to setting up MammaMia, I've been moved, and I continue to be moved by the experience I'm doing into the movement. First of all, the first things that really helped me was to take seriously, to take into account this desire I had to provide my kids with Italian culture and language. So to deep my desire to take them seriously. The second one is this meeting is an example, the centrality and the relevance that the movement gives to education. And our children's education is, of course, I'm honest, it's really my real and biggest concern. And third, there is an African saying tells that we need a village to bring up kids, and so there is also the emphasis, the relevance that communal liberation gives to the community, to the people, and also to the single person. And I found all of these instruments, fundamental for me to embark in this adventure with these friends.
Thank you, Gioia. Thank you. And we move to Hans. Hans, thanks for sharing also some kind of practical advice on how parents can become more protagonists in the schools where their children attend. I want to ask you a question. Goes more to your personal experience. You said a lot, or you acknowledged a lot of this in your book, but more specifically, how did your encounter with Father Giussani, mainly through his works, did influence and is still influencing your awareness and your approach in the school where you work?
Really, most of the books people read tell them how something should be or how it should be different. My experience of meeting the writing of Father Giussani is that it told me who I am. I found reflected in that a very accurate portrait of myself. So that can be very revelatory, really, when you meet something that explains yourself to yourself. And that you find somebody who is able, in a sense, to provide a structure to the explanation, to make almost reasonable desires, which you have to explain them, really, to yourself. I think that process then allows and then let's face it, the guy is the ultimate teacher rock star. I'm a man taking selfies at the Berchet Lyceum whenever I can. Has there ever been a teacher? Has there ever been a more unbelievable example of the difference one teacher makes? I had this experience in Milan of being put up with a lady who was in his class in 1955. Her entire life and the life of her friends and her children and her grandchildren are changed basically by this high school teacher. And what you have there is the desire, I think, that if we're allowed to dream big, which we don't do enough, but I think as an educator, if you if you're really honest with yourself, you know, you want to be a father. You want to be a sign of something to people, a sign of the goodness of God, someone who points to the destiny that we all share, a destiny of life with and for each other, for another, and to understand that it is possible to use something so as prosaic as a classroom to create the kind of friendships and the kind of relationships and the intensity of the appreciation of that desire, that awakening, in a sense, of that desire. I think it's just profoundly inspiring, really. I think it's just massively. And the other thing it does, which is highly useful when you're working British education, it shows it can be done. You know, as the saying goes, everything seems impossible until it is actually done. And to know that somebody just took a little briefcase and stepped into a classroom with teenagers and began to honestly provide a method for evaluating these desires and for verifying particular proposals. It's been a complete redirection. I'm not sure it's been a complete redirection in the sense that what it's done is it's made explicit and reasonable and dialogical and verifiable very inchoate and confused things that I think were always alive in me. Things that I had always wanted to meet, an educator I had always wanted to meet, an educator who could be an educator of the educated. So that's what it's meant personally.
Thank you, Hans. Thank you. I see some questions starting to emerge in the chat. Before moving to them, I just want to ask a last question, to follow-up question to Peter. Peter, at the beginning of this meeting, I've quoted the well-known definition of education that Fr Giussani adopted. This idea of introducing into reality in all its constitutive factors. A description that could seem a bit hard to understand. So what does it mean for you that education is an introduction to what is most true and real in life?
Thank you, Rudi. I would just encourage you to think about your own experience. When is it that you've found yourself thinking that life is full, that your experience of something going on is overflowing, that it has this comprehensiveness, this totality, that it escapes what you could create on your own? For me, that comes most of all when I'm in relationship with other people and when things happen beyond my control, when it appears that a gift has been given. So when you come into relationship with other people, this for me is a key part of understanding reality being something complete, something total. Obviously, knowledge is part of that. You want to discover different perspectives on life. But for me, it really comes when you're in relationship with people and a sense that life is overflowing. Now, this isn't something that sort of necessarily comes in a nice, neat package. Because I think my wife and I have put on lots of plays with other home educators. My wife particularly has run lots of plays with other home educators. And you're in relationship with them. They can be very challenging. To put on a play with other families seems almost at times impossible to do. Because people don't turn up when they say they will turn up, things don't happen, children don't practice their parts. You could be tearing your hair out the whole time trying to put on a play with other home educators. They all go about their own things in their own way. But at the same time, even with that messy reality, there's still a completeness that goes above and beyond even that challenging reality, to realise that life has a fullness to it. I mean, it's one aspect of the totality of reality, you know, that life goes beyond what you can control, what you can organise.